What's up? Merry Christmas, everybody. It is that time of the year again. That's why I have all these Christmas decorations up. So happy holidays, happy new year, Merry Christmas, all those other things that you're supposed to say around this time of the year. Feliz Navidad, that's one. Anyways, I wanted to talk about the 2020 fee schedule a little bit more. I don't have any thoughts planned out. I just wanted to talk about it because I know a lot of you guys are concerned. And I just wanted to let you know that I am no expert when it comes to understanding this bill and how it will affect the field. So sorry if my thoughts aren't concise or clear, or what I'm thinking might happen, might not happen. I don't know. I won't know until it actually happens, and then I can tell you how it's affecting the field. But until then, this is just a projection or like a guesstimate. Something I wanted to share with you right off the bat is that I'm a physical therapist assistant, and I've been working in this field going on 4 years now. And the majority of where I've worked has been in an outpatient setting. That's what I'm familiar with. That's what I have my experience in. And so when we talk about how the 2020 fee schedule is going to affect, let's say, a hospital or a skilled nursing facility or working in home healthcare, I don't really know as much of how it's going to impact those settings because I don't work in them. But something I did want to mention is that Medicare is the one who introduced this new 2020 fee schedule, and Medicare is for people who are over the age of 65. And so when we're talking about a hospital, skilled nursing facility, home healthcare, the majority of those patients are typically older and they would have Medicare. Versus an outpatient setting, we sometimes see younger kids, medium-aged kids, young adults, old people, young people. We see a little bit more variety than just older people who might have Medicare. And so I feel like those settings might actually be impacted more by this new 2020 fee schedule just because the majority of their patients are older. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm mentioning the 2020 fee schedule, then I would encourage you to go back and watch some of my other videos, the proposal video or the final ruling video on the 2020 fee schedule, just so you understand it a little better, and then come back and watch this video. So I'll put a link to those other two videos in this description. Also, something I wanted to say regarding my last video, the final ruling, is that there was a little bit of confusion, and some people thought that when I said that PTAs get reimbursed at 85% of what a PT does, that means that PTAs are getting paid less, and that's not necessarily true. What that's saying is that the company that a PTA works for is going to get reimbursed at 85% for PTA services when a PTA provides physical therapy, but that doesn't necessarily mean the PTA is going to get paid less as a salary. However, it could happen if the company that you work for decides to cut your salary to make up for their losses. Now that can still happen, but initially it doesn't mean that PTAs are going to get less for a salary. Now, I don't think that companies are necessarily going to cut the pay for PTAs that already work in the field. They definitely might, but I just don't see it as likely as happening versus just them deciding to not hire new PTAs that are coming into the field, or they might hire in new PTAs but just at a lower rate. But I don't necessarily see them cutting the pay of an employee that's been working for them for 20 years or something. I see that as a little less likely, but who knows, could still happen if there's some cold-hearted people out there, you know. What happens if a company does decide to cut the pay of a new graduate then? What would happen to the field? I honestly don't think that there would be as many people trying to become PTAs, just because the payoff of going to college and what you'll be earning as a salary won't make sense. The loans you have versus what you'll be earning, I don't think you'll be earning enough to pay off the loans you took out. It just doesn't make as much sense, and I feel like more people would become physical therapy technicians, which don't require a degree at all. You can just start working in the field and working somewhat with patients, and you can just get familiar with the field, and you don't have the debt, and you'll already be getting not paid as much either. So I think more people would start to do that. What I'm actually starting to see more and more of in the area that I live in is that companies are now just starting to hire physical therapists or technicians. They're not hiring PTAs anymore, and a lot of companies are starting to do this. You have ATI, you have HealthQuest, you have Doctors of Physical Therapy, and these are like big franchises. They have multiple different locations, and this is the style that they're doing. They're hiring PTs and techs to provide care. And now I don't necessarily think that's quite ethical the way they're doing it, just because I think the techs that work for them actually do a little more than they're supposed to, and I also feel like sometimes the patients don't receive as good of care just because if techs can't provide actual treatment, then the PTs have multiple patients at once and the techs kind of just help them around, and the care isn't as good. But this is actually what I'm seeing more and more of around the area I live in. Now, I'm not trying to scare you out of this profession or just bring gloom and doom to your life or anything like that. I actually think this is a great career and it will be around. People need care, people need physical therapy. It's a really good alternative from medication, from drugs, from surgery. Physical therapy is a great viable option for healthcare. And something else that has really have been eye-opening for me is that Megan and I, Megan is my sister, we have opened up our own clinic in our hometown. And by being able to do that, I've got to see a lot of the behind the scenes aspect of running a company rather than just being an employee. I get to see the numbers now of what we're getting reimbursed for patients. Sometimes we don't get paid by a claim, sometimes we do. And being able to see that, it gives me a little more assurance or a little more ease that it is possible to still hire PTAs and still treat patients and still run a successful business. You just have to be smart with your finances and stuff, but it still seems very likely to do. My sister and I, we're not as worried about it. With the patients we're seeing, we actually want to bring on another staff member, and so it's still realistic to do and it's still a realistic career for you, so I'm not trying to scare you at all. Sometimes what you'll see clinics do as well is they will hire PTs to do the evals and discharges, things that a PTA cannot do, but they won't typically have PTs do a ton of treatments just because they could pay a PTA to do the treatments at a cheaper cost of paying a PT to do those treatments as well. So if you have multiple patients and you need to hire multiple employees, sometimes what they'll do is have the PTs do discharges, evals, progress notes, things like that, and they'll have PTAs do a lot of the daily treatments just because it's cheaper to have PTAs on staff. Now, what will that look like when PTAs get reimbursed less for their services? I don't necessarily know. I don't know what the number is from when you want to hire a PT to do versus a PTA, but I do need to sit down and do the math for that. But I know that is something that companies think about when they hire PTAs and PTs as well. Also, something else to consider is that not every single one of your patients is going to have Medicare. So let's say, for example, you've seen 20 patients that day, and let's say 10 of them had Medicare and the other 10 didn't. That means the other 10 claims that you're going to see that have different insurances, you're going to get reimbursed your normal rates of what you had previously gotten reimbursed. It's only for people with Medicare that you're going to see this change in reimbursement. So another option would be to have the PTs specifically see the Medicare patients and have the PTAs see non-Medicare patients, just so you're still getting reimbursed at full cost for all your patients. So that's another thing to consider as well. Now, I don't know if other insurance companies are slowly going to jump on that trend and start reimbursing PTAs less. Currently, they are not, but that could change in the future. But that's just another thing I wanted to talk about and mention. Those are my thoughts. These are just a few things to think about then. These are some of my thoughts, and I do plan to post more videos when I have more thoughts and talk to more people and getting a better idea and a better hold on this topic. But this is just something I want to kind of start talking about, having that conversation, just so you guys can kind of feel like you're involved and know what's going on as best you can and as best I can. I mean, I'm still trying to figure this out with you. I'm here with you. Hit me up if you need to. Drop a comment if you need to talk about something. Let's have a conversation. Let's keep this conversation going. What are some ways that we can, improve this field, or what are some strategies of what you can do if you're trying to be a PTA? How do you get hired? All that sorts of stuff. We're gonna keep talking about it. But that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to continue to stay updated on what's going on and what is happening. All the new videos, all the new content. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching the video, guys. See you on another one. Peace.